Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. We've got 4 interesting tales to share today, but let's start with this one. So I recently actually already unboxed this guitar, and it's kind of a rare model that, in hindsight, that I've just kind of fallen in love with. And I actually traded my last one away not too long ago, but that's going to be like a whole separate episode because I traded that one guitar for, I think, 4 other ones and made a guy really happy because he was just looking for a nice custom shop Gibson guitar, and he wanted to trade away all his Gibson USAs. That's not normally a trade I would love to make, especially since I'm trying to kind of cut down on all the guitars that I have waiting for reviews. But the trade just made sense for me because there was like 1 or 2 rare models in there. But this is a guitar that has sat unsold since 2018. Another episode like the one where I bought all the guitars that no one wanted to buy. However, I actually found this thing up in Canada. I think it was in a shop called Long and McQuade. And I actually found it because a fan of the show said, hey, if you want another one of those, these things have been sitting in this store for years. And I was surprised. Because I'm always low-key looking out for these things. So I guess we'll see what kind of condition this brand new Gibson guitar is in after being like a floor/demo model for a couple of years. So what is inside this strange rectangular Gibson custom shop case? Let us find out. Oh man, it's another one. Modern Flying V. I love these things. Now, my experience buying from Long and McQuade, they're really nice people, but if you're trying to buy out of Canada from the US, I will not say it was like the best experience I've ever had, because they were asking me for a lot of information, like for verification reasons, because this is a rather expensive guitar, right? And they wanted to make sure that I wasn't some guy that's just going to do a chargeback claim. But some of the information, if I did not have like business versions of it, like they wanted my social security number, it's like, no thank you. But hey, I found another one of the Modern Flying V's. They only made 33 in each color. I think this is my 3rd one in Ebony Prism, so you can check out this video if you want to learn more about that. I also have the review of that golden one. Still haven't owned one of the silver ones yet, but honestly, it's my least favorite. And I kind of completed that trifecta when we did the whole review and demo of the original Roswell Rhodes, which this is, semi-what based off of. I actually have the opportunity to talk to the guy who designed this. I think that might make for a fun episode one day. I think we'll just do a little interview. We'll see what the true inspirations were. Did he actually know about the Roswells, or was that just, kind of a coincidence? Because they're both semi-what based on that Star Trek shape. But I would say this thing's actually in pretty good shape, for being a demo model. Of course, the black chrome always looks terrible if anybody's ever touched it, but that should clean up okay. I'm happy with that purchase. So, once again, shout out to that fan who tipped me off on these. They actually had 2, and I was going to buy both, but somebody else purchased the other one, unfortunately. I could see myself in the future being like a hoarder of all the Modern Flying V's, because they truly are a weird piece of Gibson history from that very fateful year, 2018. But now, hey, my buddy sent me 2 more guitars. You remember that video? We're just kind of tying this all together. So if you remember, at the end of that, I said he had 2 more guitars that he wanted to sell me. Unfortunately, he was having some issues getting boxes, so we were just waiting months and months, and eventually he asked me about these Reverb ones. And it's like, yes, they are pretty good. The only downside to these things is they're rather big. As you can tell, I actually stocked up on those like a year or 2 ago. Just in case I ever get like a big bulky case. But for $35 shipped to your door, you really can't beat these if you don't have a local box place. But if you're shipping a Les Paul and you fill it up with all this stuff, it is going to cost you a lot more to send this rather than like a smaller Gibson box, or like especially that little Fender over there. But if you're only shipping 1 or 2 guitars, I guess you really don't care about the cost. You more so care about it arriving safely. So I'd say they're good enough for that. I guess StewMac also has that guitar shipping system thing you could also do, but those are rather expensive. So it all depends on what type of materials you have laying around. Oh, and just as a public service announcement, we are into our winter months now. Make sure you do not open your guitars for at least 24 hours if you want to avoid finish checking. If you're cool with finish checking, sure, open it up right away. So let's see what my buddy Donnie sent me this time. We've got another black Les Paul Custom. But this one is supposed to be factory chrome hardware. Now this guy, I can tell he's already gonna need a little bit of a polishing job. But other than that, I think if you guys are looking for a factory chrome, wow. This is not too bad of a weight for a Norland era Les Paul Custom. I think this one's a 1981, if I'm remembering correctly. Let's take a look at the back of the headstock. Whoa, that serial number's nearly invisible unless you get it in the light. That was a lightly stamped. No, this one's the 1980. Can you guys spot the difference? One tuner has been replaced, so this is actually factory nickel hardware. Nice. Well, maybe not. Maybe all the other tuners have been replaced. I'm not sure. But this is a nice looking custom. I don't know about you guys, but I really like the chrome customs. And this one is factory chrome because you can see the studs. Now, somebody could technically replace the studs too, but usually they don't ever go that far because it's a little bit harder to pull the studs out rather than just swapping all the pieces. So this should have Tim Shaw PAF pickups, and it won't be in too bad of shape once we condition this up. Looks like we might have a very small touch-up area right here for a ding, and just minor finish wear along the edges of the neck. So you guys can check this one out on my reverb shop if you're interested in a 1980 black Les Paul Custom. Let's just check our truss rod. Last time we had one that had a slight twist in the neck that caught him by surprise. I like to make sure everybody knows what's going on. Well, this one has what I would consider limited adjustability left on the truss rod. It's not completely maxed out yet, but that is something to take into account. So that means this one will be $3,500 on my reverb shop, or if you want to buy it direct, PayPal gift, $32.50 shipped. But now we need to move on to guitar number 2 from Donnie. I'm guessing, I believe this is the last guitar that he's selling from this collection at this point in time. Remember last time he told us he was making some like studio upgrades or something? So we needed to free up some cash for that. Let's go ahead and get this thing out. Alright, so this one, I guess by process of elimination, he was sending me an 80 custom and an 81 custom, so this must be the 81. Let's take a look at it. Now this one's in gold, and this is looking nice. Now, if you're looking for one that hasn't, aged too incredibly much, so far this one's looking nice. And he told me it was a nice one, so let's check it out here. Looks like face of the headstock, that's looking great. You just get a little bit of light scratches, nothing too over the top. This one, it's got a little bit more chunk in the body, but it's not like overly heavy. And wow, this ebony fretboard has like a very slight rosy tint to it. But it's definitely ebony. That's kind of interesting. I like that. And the gold hardware is in great shape. Just needs a little bit of a polish job, I would say. It's just got some light fingerprints. But so far, I would say this is nearly collector grade if you don't need 1000% mint condition. Looking on the back here, this is also looking fairly clean. You got some light scratches and buckle worming marks. Somebody wanted to buff this. I mean, this would definitely be a presentable one. Just a few light impressions that would not actually end up coming out. Yes, this one is a 1981 149th day of the year. A very classic looking black Les Paul Custom. I guess 81, that's the last official year of our volute. Last year of not being weight relieved. Last year of a whole bunch of stuff. Nice, we even have the original warranty card here all filled out and everything too. So as long as our truss rod's good on this one, this is going to be a nice piece for someone. This one's perfect. This one's going to be listed around that $5,000 range. It's worth it. And last but not least, I have what I'm kind of considering a mystery package. I honestly do not know what's in this box because it feels really lightweight. I think the label said it was like 14 pounds. So I don't remember buying a guitar that would come in like a gig bag. Is this another like fan sent in guitar that they bought something from me before so they know my mailing address type situation? Or is it something I bought like through a private sale? I'm not sure. But I guess we'll have to open it and find out. Oh. I I totally forgot about this. So this is actually just an empty Gibson case. And the whole story behind this is somebody contacted me and they're like, hey, I am moving out of the country. I have this Gibson case. I have no use for it. I really don't want to sell it. Would you like it? I'll ship it to you. And it's like, yeah, as long as you're sure you don't want to sell it, yeah, that's 100% fine. I'll take it. I'll even send you a shipping label. So I think he was in like California or something. Somewhere on the West Coast anyways. And I think it cost me like $35 or something. So now I have a spare, I believe this is the made in China version of the case. Yes, that is the China version, but hey, you know, for 35 bucks, that works for me. I'll just throw it in my case storage. It's kind of embarrassing how many extra cases I have, but you never know when you might need a case. Or like sometimes if somebody is buying a guitar that doesn't have a case, they want to upgrade. And then you don't have to say, okay, yeah, I'll buy it from this dealer. It'll be 2-3 days before I get it. It's like, yeah, I can get you a case, no problem. And I always like having vintage chainsaw cases around. So, troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed all this unboxing today. Kind of tying in some old themes together in this one. But let's move over to some boxings before we say goodbye today. Our first one to pack up this time, it has a little bit more of a story to it. So you remember that one from a couple of episodes ago? That was a factory repaint job. You know, I wasn't 100% sure if that was, you know, actually the way they would all be or not. But I didn't want to unbox the same guitar multiple times just in case there was another issue on this one. But we can finally get that Les Paul Modern to the guy who traded me that Ibanez for one of these with a case and all that, the setup, all the works that I normally do to a guitar. It's finally here. Now this one, I took it onto the workbench. I checked it over real good before I spent any time changing the strings and cleaning it like that last one, before I found the paint runs. And this one, I'm happy to say, it is a factory blue model. There is no weird streaks in the finish. There's no red paint in the pickup cavities. I mean, you can see them right there. So I went ahead, spent an hour with this thing, changing the strings, polishing the frets up all nice, making sure that ebony fretboard is as dark as possible. And as soon as I get done doing all that, then the light hits it just right. There's like some weird scratch marks up here. It looks just like wood grain, right? But since the last two inlays are scratched up, there had to have been something at the factory that did that. Because it wasn't my cleaning process. You can actually see it there in the before picture when I was telling him, hey, we got a good one. So I gave him the option, do you want me to get you a different one or do you just want this? And he just decided that he was going to play this one. And I told him good, because this thing, it plays and sounds phenomenal. Not saying that the other one was bad, but if I had to choose between the two, it would definitely be this one. Like the factory setup was just a little bit better, but that other one kind of has an interesting story of being a factory repaint. So I think at the end of the day, I made two people very happy with those guitars. Now, at the time of packing this collection up, I hadn't sold them. I just wanted to, you know, consolidate all my boxes and all that stuff. That way I could have my packing room back. But I ended up having to split the collection up because somebody wanted half. Now, did they want the Les Pauls or did they want all the other stuff? They wanted the other stuff, the lighter weight guitars. And get this, this has to be the coolest story ever. So he bought these 7 guitars, the Les Paul Jr., the Les Paul Special, and all the SGs to give as Christmas presents to his nieces and nephews. So how cool is that? They're going to get to learn and play on those guitars, but at the same time, those prototypes are going to become incredibly valuable. Like if I just had a storage locker that I could lock them up and just forget about them for 20 years, that would have been a fantastic investment. But I don't really play the long-term game. I play the short-term game because it's the game that I know and I love, and I get to have a whole bunch of guitars. It's a lot easier to buy a guitar, sit on it, sell it in 20 years, and just hope that it increased in value, which most of the times they do. Like heck, if you would have bought Norland era Les Paul Customs, like even when I started 5 years ago, you could buy them all the time for like around 2,500 bucks. Sell them now for 4,000? Hey, you wouldn't have done too half bad. But as of the time of recording this, I do have the Les Paul collection ready. If you're just a Les Paul collector, I have that complete set up for $32. If you're within the USA, you can send it via bank wire and a private sale. I can definitely help you a little bit more on that price. But through Reverb 32, that's the final saying on those guys. And if I don't get any bites within a week, I'll start to separate them out. So if you are interested in a particular one, and if I get 7 different people that want that before then, we can do that there. But it was fun documenting these prototype guitars. And I think it's worth it just to have the video. So, you know, in 20, 30 years when they are super valuable, you can look back and see them all together in one collection. All right, troglodytes, thank you for tuning in today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.